Everybody got somebody they got to answer to. These fundings is coming from a source, which is called HRSA. HRSA job is to make sure that a person living with HIV is receiving the most quality care. Every year they come out and do an audit on these organizations. We have power. We have power. And that's what people in our community have to understand. Without us, you wouldn't even have this funding. Without us, it wouldn't even be a them.
You wouldn't be getting paid.
Without us.
What up, though? We back with Bird Talk, part 2. Good
Conversation.
So, we finna settle. Like I said, I'm sitting back and I'm letting them do their thing.
One of the things that I want to make sure that I touch bases on is that, I get sick and tired of having the same generic conversation when dealing with HIV/AIDS. And one of the things is, we always talk about, make sure that people on medications to treat it or take PrEP so they don't get it. But what happens after initial diagnosis? No one's telling you what to do after a diagnosis. How do you uplift the individual? How do you keep a person up to par in their mental health? We always seem to overlook the mental health aspect associated with this. An HIV diagnosis is no different than any type of diagnosis that's going to change the quality of a person's life. If the doctor told you right now that you had stage 2 liver cancer, is that going to stop how you live your life? You're going to try to figure out how to fix it. Same thing with HIV. When you are diagnosed, you say, how do I fix this? But we're not really having those healthy conversations. Instead, what we're doing is we're isolating, we're criminalizing, and then we're contributing to stigma. Right? We addressed that earlier with the slides at one of the World AIDS Day events we had, where they kept showcasing the gay people for the press. And we literally had to pull them to the side and say, hey, look, you're contributing to stigma.
Right.
We have to change this. Sex is something that is supposed to be enjoyed. Okay? It's a great thing that children are created out of it, but sex is supposed to be enjoyed, because there will come a time when you can't have it. But that doesn't mean that you have to implement a level of disrespect and a level of discourse to try to attack something that's so beautiful, regardless of what you choose it, how you choose to do it, because there's many ways to do it. Toys, fun, porn.
Whatever way. You can be very creative.
But what happens when we educate people correctly? I would love to see a program maybe in an establishment like what LaDawn here works at, where we're teaching individuals, fix your credit. You will learn how to invest into the healthcare and the pharmaceutical businesses that's prescribing your HIV medications and your PrEP pills.
Well, let's be real human about it. If you want to go out there and get drunk, let me teach you how to do it the right way. Make
Absolutely.
Sure you got your salt, your water, your all of that on the side. Like, really teaching to end the epidemic, because that's the only way. You got to deal with the real issues.
Let's create real office.
Epidemic, right? And that goes, like I tell people all the time, like, even these companies, my commercial that I want to be in a commercial. I want to be in an HIV commercial. I want to be in the Big Tarby commercial. And in that Big Tarby commercial, I want them to see me closing the door. I want them to see the man going into the bedroom, and I want them to see me closing the door behind them. That way you can know what I'm about to go in that room and do. I don't want to walk down the street and hold hands. I want to put a real message out there, okay? Because, again, I'm with Orlando, and I have nothing against my community, LGBTQIA. I'm not a part of y'all, but I'm your ally. You feel what I'm saying?
Why do you have to wait? Why can't you do that on your own? Why do you have to wait for a pharmaceutical company to
You know what I'm saying? Because it's bigger. It's a little bigger
So-
with
so-
the pharmaceutical companies.
Well,
They can do a little more.
Advertising.
You
But I
know,
think,
it's different, like you said. And I think
Well, you got to remember that they have certain guidelines that they have to go through, and so you kind of restrict yourself when you.
But
do
also, that's true. But like you said, your commercial came out during the Super Bowl. That is the best way to advertise. Like, what?
But I think that
I wanted to jump in on what you said about mental health. when you
It's
said
very important.
about, I'm not saying that it's not. You get asked the question like, what happens when you're newly diagnosed and everything, you know? So in my position where I work at, okay, I am there when you are initially diagnosed. I am there. I am making appointments for you because a lot takes place in that beginning, you know, especially with the mental health, you know. And at my job, we do offer that because we do believe that that is important because sometimes, like we all know, it's just not gay men that get HIV. Just women. There's some babies that are born with it, you know, and that can be something on someone's mental health. And with my caseload, I advocate for a whole body health, right? Like mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. And I
Everything.
walk with them. And once they get there, right? Because everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets there in the same time.
Absolutely.
They graduate.
Yeah.
They
Oh my God, I
graduate.
do the same
And I do
thing.
certificates for my
Me
clients,
too.
everything like that. Like they graduate to know, like, hey,
Yes, you did it.
you were diagnosed with a viral, like with
And
a viral load of
you took the
250,000,
initiative.
and now here we are.
But the unfortunate part is that is limited to you, and that is limited to the resources that you, the company that you work with, provides to your
Is that
Hold on,
so?
one moment.
Okay.
I'm doing it. Give me one moment.
Okay.
And so we have to remember that just because that's what your company provides, that may not be the same thing in Indiana. I did a speaking engagement in Indiana, and it wasn't until they pointed that out. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. If I want to move, thank God I have a relationship with y'all to help me, but as an HIV positive man trying to leave the state of North Carolina, I'm lost.
Right.
Because the moment I leave my residence, my health insurance is gone. Okay? Hold on. My health insurance is gone. So knowing that now, like I said, we've had conversations, right? Thank God I know you, and I know LaDawn, and I know other people on the teams that I can pick up and call to help me. Everyone doesn't have that, and that's what I'm trying to focus on. For those who don't have the experience and the common knowledge, I feel like a prisoner in my own state.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And that's all a part of mental health.
So what I'm saying is, so what you're saying, and I have a question because this is actually
Pretty good.
because just like Chris, my job, we offer counseling and resources for counseling, and if they don't have insurance and everything like that, we offer all of that to them. So the fact that you said that, it's like surprising to me. That's not, all clinics are not the same.
They're not.
Because that's like the norm to me.
And also you have to look at it like this. Sometimes it's not the organization. It's the individual.
It's the laws.
No, it's the individual, because the same thing that Crystal do, I created that. I created that in my organization. In my organization, that organization, I'm no longer with them, but they like that, and it gives you a sense of quality of health.
Correct.
And they decided to keep that going on. So it's not an organizational thing. I did that because everybody loves to get a certificate. And I had clients literally come to me and say, like, wow, I got a certificate just because I choose to take my pill every single day.
But that is encouraging the individual to get on their therapy.
That's encouraging them to stay on
the therapy for their own, what do we call it, quality of life.
Exactly.
That is not addressing the issue
But
that
see,
I
that's
presented as far as, go ahead.
with a person to go on to that. Again, it also depends on the person, because there's no way in the world I'm going to give you a diagnosis and I'm not going to follow up.
Right.
That's you.
But there's some that
When I was diagnosed,
does.
but that, I think that's what we're missing, the totality of the conversation. And I think we forget is we have to put ourselves in the mindsets of other people.
Correct.
Everyone does not have a LaDawn. There are still some cities who, after a diagnosis and they report to the health department, that's it. I remember 2013 when that happened to me, and the health department knocked on my door. After that situation happened, I didn't even know about mental health until recently. Okay? No one came to check on me. When I was talking to y'all the other day, you said, well, what about your health? What about your case manager? What's that? Mm-hmm. I've never spoken to a case manager. I've been HIV positive since 2013. I go to the clinic every other month. I get a shot. Not one time has someone said, hi, Orlando, I'm your case manager. That is you.
Yeah,
but see, that's where...
I just want to say we have to remind ourselves that outside of the glory that we bring to other people, there are some people who are not experiencing the same life.
So we need to be advertising the states that do help with all.
So if they don't,
who have questions and need help. Like
if they don't do it, this is where I need people to understand. Okay, no matter where you live, I don't care. No matter where you live, if there is Ryan White funding there, guess what? There's a planning body there. Guess what that planning body job is? To make sure services, there's a report card that is being done, and that I don't care where you are. And this is education for those that are not, they feel like they're not getting what they're supposed to get.
Right.
See,
how can you know what you're going to get if you don't know what you're supposed to get?
Because you're supposed to, as me as an individual, myself, how I learned everything that I need to learn. When I got diagnosed, I started doing my own type of research. So if you really want to know what it is that you're dealing with in your body, you got to understand, first off, how is it bothering your body? You got to learn that part. Then you got to understand and read and see what the research is also telling you.
Right.
It's a lot of stuff out here, and people don't understand that. Everybody got somebody they got to answer to. These fundings is coming from a source, which is called HRSA. HRSA job is to make sure that a person living with HIV is receiving the most quality care. Every year, they come out and do an audit on these organizations. We have power. We have power, and that's what people in our community have to understand. Without us, you wouldn't even have this funding. Without us, it wouldn't even be of them.
You wouldn't be getting paid
without us. And that is the rule. I can't remember what it is, and I wish Shanika was here right now, because she'd be like, yeah, girl, that's the thing. But it is without, you can't do anything without us. How can you end the HIV epidemic without us?
But you said something very profound, man. We appreciate the advocacy and the educating us for what HRSA is. That's HRSA. We appreciate that, and we don't want to take that away from you. Okay.
But no,
but what I'm saying is, when you have a newly diagnosed individual,
correct,
they don't know these things.
Correct.
When I was first diagnosed, I didn't know what a CD4 count was, a repelverine, a trichomectine, none of that.
That was the job of your.
So your provider.
Wait a second. It didn't happen.
Your case manager.
That's another thing. A lot of these providers are so overwhelmed with caseloads.
So y'all have advocates.
Let me finish. I'm painting a picture of Charlotte, North Carolina to you, okay? They receive this grant money. They get all these people on these medications, okay? I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina since 2013 after my diagnosis. I have never had a conversation with the case manager. Never, okay? Never. So if that happened to me, and after all of my experiences of now walking at the AIDS walks and going different places, I'm learning, we don't even offer housing assistance or opportunities in North Carolina. That's your state.
Everybody do not have.
That's your state.
But they're getting the funding.
Everybody do not.
But that's what I'm saying. That's where the confusion is at. There's gaps. You get what I'm saying? Every state, they might get funding, but it's not equivocal. I want to leave North Carolina. Before I can just up and leave North Carolina, I need to first make sure that if I'm going to go to that state and I'm going to apply for their Medicaid, that Medicaid is going to cover the prescription that I'm currently on. It's not just me.
And
I'm
it's
not going.
just-
I'm not going into the specifics. I'm just painting the picture of the level of stress that I'm experiencing. And if I'm experiencing that with my level of education and my level of experience, how many other people? I have a friend who also moved from one state to another, and he had to come off his medicine
Right.
because he lost his insurance once he left the state.
So I have a.
So,
So I want to say something in regards to how you mentioned you've been going to that same provider.
right.
Okay. That same provider. So now what we're about to touch on is something called medical mistrust because of the experience that you have received at this provider, because I guarantee
It's not right.
It's
you
not
are not
right.
the only
You are
person
not.
in that clinic, provider's office, that gets it. So what happens is some people don't like to shop around for a new provider, you know, especially when you're positive,
Exactly.
you know, because you're going to scratch that wound
Exactly.
all over again. However, my advice to everybody is if you are uncomfortable
That's
Right. Oh,
with your provider, with whoever it is, right? If your questions are not getting
time to go.
answered, then therefore
What's not for
find a place.
and I want you to plug that for the
Find a
audience.
place.
And
Find
I'll
a place
Plug that for the
It's
audience.
time.
that you can
You gotta
really
lead 'em.
get comfortable and talk to someone. Okay? If they're not asking the questions, if they're not answering the questions that you are asking about
Exactly.
self-preservation is always law. Okay? And if you can't go in there and say, well, you know what, this morning I woke up and I really don't feel good, and they don't bust out no PHQ-9 on you, then they're not doing their job, because that is law. The PHQ-9 is a series of questions, okay, where they ask to see if you are experiencing depression or not. And if you are, they are responsible.
But can I ask
Okay.
a question?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Positions,
Absolutely.
And my situation was not that. I want to get back to that. My situation was actually, we had in our office a woman who worked there for 40 plus years. And when she left, the clinic left.
And that
That
happens.
is now our problem.
Yeah, and
That
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 happens
is what the
because
issues are.
only
Yes.
one person
And she
knew
ran it.
how to run an
Yes.
office,
Yep.
and that
Exactly.
happens in so many
Now
organizations.
that is the conversation.
Because now-
And we're having it.
That is
That's
the
why I think
conversation.
people should be cautious.
Because
Absolutely.
now you have a lot of people who are just going for a
And
check.
they're
not
lost.
doing it
Right.
till they give a damn.
And they're
Like people like
lost.
us, we actually give a damn. I work with people.
Exactly.
Who
But if a
really give a damn.
person doesn't
But I get it,
understand
but
the
this is not
quality
even
of their
just
life,
but I'm just talking. You should do that in general, just with any physician. When you go in there and say, "I've been coughing, my chest hurt," and they're not actually listening to you, it's time to go. And I have.
But you heard what he just said.
let me switch the language.
The
Let me switch the
provider
language.
just
A
left.
woman who was
We
abused
get
by
it.
her
So when she
husband.
left, it's time to
Hold
go.
on. A woman who was abused. Yes, ma'am, I'm going there.
No, you're
A
not.
woman who was
No, you're
abused.
not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
It's the same.
Okay.
A woman who was abused by her husband oftentimes doesn't know she's abused. That's women battered syndrome. They
So
don't
a
know
woman
that.
who's being abused knows she's being abused.
No,
She
they
just don't know
don't.
the different types of abuse.
No,
don't.
So
no,
that's different.
no.
There, no, there is a difference.
It's love to them.
Because I'm about
Some women
And
get
she's
it, but at the
been
same time.
And I'm not saying anything
But
from
at
you.
the
I'm
same
saying
time-
from my
But
experience.
even that,
Everybody's
but
different.
even
That
that, there
part.
are different levels
You
to
feel what I'm
abuse. So not you don't
That part.
always know
Okay.
that
That
they're
part.
that you're like it could be. It don't even have to be physical. It could be financial. You
Emotional.
don't even know emotional.
And what's
And
the
you
word?
don't even know that you're
And
being
you
abused
don't
and
know.
that-
You just
But
said it.
because you don't know there's a such thing as
That's what I
emotional
just said. We just
or
said the same thing.
financial or
Really
something. It's
did.
not so. But somebody who's being physically abused, they know they're being abused. They know they're getting their ass kicked. But there's a thing.
But they might think that's love.
But they don't know. But yeah, that too. But there's some who know that's love and they just do that sacrifice for other reasons. Like there's multiple things. But
If
I might need to.
But
I might need to keep where I'm
financial-
living at. So I'm gonna take this
financial,
ass to
everything
because I need
else,
this
right.
house.
I don't know what. A
Financial,
lot of people don't know what
emotional,
ADAP is.
Mhm.
They're
So,
like-
Your charge.
A lot of people don't know what ADAP is. A lot of people don't know
the
what.
same thing. Well, it's not the same thing, but there's
What the
different
drug
levels that you
assistant
don't know.
program is.
A lot of
That's
people
what I
don't know
said.
what the resources
The drug
are.
assistant program.
That's all I'm trying to
Yeah,
disconnect.
I didn't know that there
You
was
work in the field, so you are privy to communications and you're privy to resources that the average person in this lifestyle that's living with don't know.
right.
And if that person don't know, they can always push them out the door,
It's our
and they
job
just
to
don't
tell
know.
them.
It's our job.
It's not
to
until they
inform.
intervene themselves into the community, like we are with the
And-
conferences, and they learn these things, that they can go back and start saying, "Wait a minute, you was doing this, and this, and I didn't get that, and that." They have to be educated,
It's our job
Right.
to educate them. Like
Right.
my job.
and
we
we're not
really
taking that
educate.
from you.
But I
The
can't-
initial
But what about the
Listening,
person that was
it's
before
crazy
you that
that-
might wasn't? What about the person
And
that's
that's
going to
the
be
thing.
after
It's
you?
more
Well,
that
that's
might
not-
what needs to happen.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
getting
we're
good,
going-
y'all. It's getting good. It's
what
getting
needs to
good.
happen?
Ask you this
Yes,
question.
yes.
Oh, we passed 20 minutes.
Okay, yeah, but you didn't have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Like, and your counselor never got in touch with you. Like,
I don't even know that exists.
Mm-hmm.
I know when it comes time for me to recertify for Ryan White and ADAP, I go in and ask me my financial questions. That's it. I've never, and my numbers are pretty good, by the way, so there's
That too.
probably no reason for this because I'm on it.
yeah,
But I've
speaking like-
never had a person say, "I am your case manager."
And that was supposed to be
That has never happened.
Then I'm
That
about to
day,
go.
he was
I'm about to
supposed to know.
piggy off of that. Now, he made a point. Okay. No one say anything to him. Even in my case, you know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But you know why? Because they look at us.
And they don't
You
know.
know, you help.
No.
I think we know.
Because he travels. He's
Oh.
on a commercial,
Uh-huh.
and they like, oh, he don't need help.
I intimidate them.
I am a advocate, and I preach, and I travel, and I teach. Oh, she don't need help. She don't fall.
Yeah.
She don't never go down. So people don't think we need it.
Mhm.
They don't think we need it.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
Like same. I don't have it. Like.
No idea.
And I'm not trying to be funny. Even if I did, I mean, I don't need a case manager at the moment, but even if I did need a case manager and I go to one of these agencies, they going to look at me like,
It's wrong now.
for real?
So while we talking about doing Ace Walk, we need to be talking about putting together an event to where we are basically not advertising, but bringing awareness of this so we can let people know the different states who do offer these type of not just programs but resources and care, because it's like I'm just in awe because we talk a lot, but I am in awe.
And we talked about
And I
this last
listen
night.
to
Did
you.
we
I
not?
listen to you like since day one we met in New Orleans. I have learned, like, yes, I work in this business, but I've learned more from you guys just by listening to you two, like all the time, right? And it's like I had no clue because I know, like, it's my norm. As soon as someone comes in, they get testing. If they test for positive, boom, you already getting set up
Yeah,
right
Because
there.
of routine.
Before you leave
That's
out that
routine.
door,
Well,
right?
Go ahead, Bird.
But you're telling me
called a
that was
rapid
not done
start.
for you. That was not done for you. And that's
When
like,
I was first
exactly.
diagnosed, that did not happen.
Rapid
My
start
We
was
have
my
great
doctor
case
I didn't have
actually
rapid
wanted when I
Rapid-
first got diagnosed.
because it wasn't around
wasn't
in
a thing.
2013.
But let's talk about the
When it was
stigma I had
offered,
to
you
walk
should have been
through. When
told.
I was first diagnosed, my doctor did not want to treat me. I remember saying to him, "I have this disease, correct?" He said, "Yes." I said, "It's never going away."
Mhm.
He said, "No." I said, "Why are we going to wait for my CD4 levels to drop down till I have fucking AIDS?"
In
Wait
regards
for it.
to
Let me finish my story, please.
Mm.
I said to him, because I remember this moment. I'm already dealing with a diagnosis. I'm by myself. By myself.
Mhm.
He would not put me on medicine. I said, so I have to get AIDS for you to give me medicine. And he looked at me. He scheduled my next appointment like within like 30 days and he put me on medicine. I had to fight for that.
What was your CD4?
Okay, I don't even remember. It was high. It was high. But North Carolina, because of that, North Carolina changed
the laws.
how they maneuver now.
Okay.
But I just want to paint that picture.
Mhm.
It's 2024.
Mhm.
Somewhere in some country, there in some county in this state, there is a doctor that is still utilizing out-of-date information.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Somewhere.
We have some.
And so until we have conversations like this, until people like myself and like Dawn come out and say, this is what I have and this is what I'm going through. A person who doesn't have that experience can't even imagine the mental health.
And I go to social media.
I'm sorry, I got passionate.
What's crazy,
So
right?
let me say this for a minute. I would do whatever I have to do to support, to get this further where it need to be. Because I'm really hearing some stuff that doctors not really, like you say, they didn't want to put you on no
We
mask.
show up more.
But see, hold on. Wait. Let me educate you before you start running with that statement right there. In certain states, if your CD4 count is high, if your CD4 count is above 500, certain states will not put you on medication. You want your CD4 count. That's why he said the statement. So you're going to wait until I get AIDS.
Literally.
Once your CD4 is under 200, your diagnosis changed to AIDS. Well, no,
Tell the
the
world
diagnosis changes
Tell the
to
world why.
what did
Question
my
is
doctor
why?
say?
why. Tell the world why.
As my numbers drop,
Tell the world why.
it's hurting my immune
It's
system.
hurting them.
So why do I have to tear my shit up
Right.
for you to give me medicine that's going to tear me up again?
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
And
So
what I
once they
found-
CD4, oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
What I was going to say, because how Orlando said that some providers, like they're stuck in their own personal bias. I had a client, didn't even speak English, pregnant, newly diagnosed in a country, but she didn't live in the city. But I cover 11 counties, and the county that she was in, I covered it.
Was she an
Y'all have
immigrant?
Do y'all have
So-
Was she illegal? Was she an immigrant?
Yeah, we come across
Was she
a
an
lot of
illegal
them.
immigrant?
So
They cater more to illegal immigrants than they do to the own people in this country. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's true. That's true. That's
See,
true.
well,
Because Michigan does it too.
We
So
have
more
bilingual
illegals.
case clinics
That's
too.
not what I'm trying to say.
I get
that's
it.
not like I'm not going to even touch on that
Yeah,
because
we ain't gonna touch on the illegal
insurance
immigrants. We're not gonna do that.
insurance is different. HIV is different. I'm keep it on that.
Mhm.
Okay, so in this county, they have a small clinic. Okay, this provider was so happy to see me because he was nervous about telling her that she is positive, because the last time he even had an infectious disease client was back when he was in school.
Why was he happy to see you?
Because I
Tell
am
me.
her care coordinator and I initiated everything.
What do you
Once
mean?
that Department of Health
You
called
initiated
She gave her
together,
her resources.
once the Department of Health called,
Told her where to
hey,
go.
Where to go. They
I'm
set it
trying
up.
to get her to
Listen.
say.
Right.
okay,
Right.
and I'm trying to tell
Go
you,
ahead.
okay, once the Department of Health got notified,
Mm-hmm.
it is their job to make contact with the person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
We know that role.
The Department of Health
Mm-hmm.
with the client
Mm-hmm.
reached out to my job.
Mm-hmm.
They
That's
did.
called Linka.
They reached out.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, my supervisor reached out to see which clinics, because you just don't gotta go to one.
Mm-hmm.
Reached out to see which clinic
So when they
Get
reached
them
out, what
in.
was said when they reached out?
to myself.
You said they reached out, right? I don't know. We're
Yeah.
painting the picture for the audience.
Okay.
When they reached out,
Right. So when the Department of Health
Yes.
newly diagnosed, it is a reportable
that is correct.
disease. They reached out to her because her test back when she was trying to find out how far along she was
Mhm.
being pregnant came back positive. Okay. So after they reached out, they scheduled her an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then I met her at her first appointment.
You did.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Cryssi did.
But I'm saying, congratulations to Crystal for being
No,
out there.
but what I'm saying is
It's a job. It's a
Minority AIDS Initiative is not just in Pennsylvania. It is in all
Different states.
states.
But that does what I want.
And that
maybe I'm
is
not painting the
and
picture
that is
correctly.
that is the job of
That happened for years.
I'm not.
Just
saying
last
that.
week, the health department knocked on someone's door and told them they was HIV positive, and we need a list of all the people you just had sex with, and if you don't give it to us, you can go to jail. Last week, in North Carolina. Okay, is what I'm trying to pay here.
Because
wait a minute, ma'am. I gave you the same. You give it to me.
Did you?
I did. And when they knocked on the door and they delivered this message to the individual person, no one was there like you described to hold their hand to get them scheduled. That person was by themselves trying to figure out the mental.
Correct.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that
isn't the first thing
but
that
I
you
want to
addressed,
make
though, was it?
sure.
Because your first thing, when you were initially diagnosed, was not the mental, it was the treatment.
We were just
right?
telling you what this all
When I was first diagnosed,
Right,
the first thing for me was, where do we go from here? The treatment. Yes,
The
ma'am.
treatment.
Yes, ma'am.
Not the mental.
Yes, ma'am.
Because the mental always comes later.
Right.
The mental always comes later.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Okay. So your first thing was treatment.
Right.
Where are we going now?
Right. Right.
I am the where we
And
going
even
now
till this
person.
day,
It has
being
nothing-
diagnosed from 1993, I still have yet to deal with the traumas.
Really?
I have yet
And you
to
need
have a
to.
conversation with how it happened. When I filmed my commercial on television, people were so concerned about how much money I made. No one said, "How are you?" I had to learn for myself how to do what? What do you call that? Coping. I had to cope on my own.
Right.
And then when I was ready to talk about it, I knew who not to talk about because they already had conversations about my
So
status
basically-
Right.
with other people.
Correct.
There are millions of people, and that's all
Correct.
I'm not taking anything
Correct.
from your
We're just letting you
position.
know that there are. I'm glad you brought this to the forefront because now that we, I didn't.
It's called medical
I didn't know.
stress.
I had no
That's a
clue.
legit thing.
Because this is our norm, right?
Right.
But no one knew that North Carolina. And I told you my sister lives there,
Mm-hmm.
but I had no idea that people of your status would never get the type of help that people in Nashville
Mm-hmm.
of their status, the type of help that I see them get on a daily. No one or we help with on a daily. Literally on a daily, we are fighting. We are meeting. Our case managers go.
I want to be clear.
So it's like, but
Because this could be an isolated situation.
Mhm.
You gotta put your disclaimers
no,
under now.
no. You
This could
basically
be
just
a-
told
hold
us what we needed. To
This
know.
is what I experienced.
Yeah.
But this could be an isolated situation, and
Mhm.
it could just been that maybe at this particular time I was going through it at this particular
But what
clinic.
about now?
I'm just, this is the disclaimer,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't ever want anyone to come back and attack Bird Talk because we said something. We have to put the disclaimer up there.
I didn't put that.
Will you let me say it? This is my personal experiences and how the healthcare
Personal
industry and that
experiences.
I experience. This may not be the same for other people in their communities and in their states. Okay. And so, therefore, I have now just been educated by Miss Crystal here about the program and HR or Harper. What'd you say it was called?
HRSA.
I've never heard of that until just now. So y'all just empowered me
Right.
to research because we always have to remember we have to do our own research and advocate for ourselves. And to now be able to go back to the Ryan Wright coordinators or the individual of my protection.
So what about
right?
now?
Wait.
You're still not receiving.
There's
that
one more
information
thing
now?
that I need.
I've
there's
never
one
had this
more thing.
conversation.
2024, you still haven't received that
There
information.
is one more important thing that I need for him to understand
No.
because I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? Every organization that received Ryan White funding has a quality board,
Mm-hmm.
a CAB.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not treating you the way that you're supposed to be treated,
They
that
don't
CAB
Mm-hmm.
is a part of. So the CAB is a part of what the
Hold on,
funding does.
But you keep
Wait a
saying
minute.
They don't
You
get that
don't.
money.
But what I'm saying is, and I'm about to say what I feel like Orlando might be about to say. Right? We know that.
there you go.
But they don't tell
Hold
people
on,
that.
hold on. We know that, right?
But I
But
don't.
He doesn't know
Again,
that.
this is why
So-
I'm steady saying education purposes.
That part.
All
for
four of
people
us
to
educated.
understand. So now
Thank you for the
that
heart.
he done learned this information, guess what
Correct.
he's finna do?
He's finna
Oh,
get
he's
somebody
He's
go
to
out.
finna go
He's about
and
to go
teach
figure it
each
out.
one, teach
Each
one,
one.
and
Right.
that is what
Yes.
that's what we about right,
Right.
Beyonce came
now. Now
to
you
North
all
Carolina.
understand
Here's a prime
what
example.
our
Look, y'all,
story.
yeah.
Beyonce
Right.
came to Charlotte, North Carolina for her Renaissance tour. And I had created a shirt with Beyonce's Uncle Johnny who passed away of HIV/AIDS.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Beyonce who featured me on her website. The news reporters came and they were so hungry for attention and recognition of Beyonce that they missed the entire point of the Renaissance Film and Festival together.
Period.
Missed it.
Period.
Blew past me. And when I went online and blasted them on Facebook, they came back and said in an apology. I said, what you did was you blew past me and you were so focused on the celebrity that you missed your opportunity to talk about HIV and AIDS in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina.
You didn't care.
Mecklenburg County, North Carolina has right now about 34,000 individuals, which is the size of a small town, living with HIV. And instead of focusing on that and bringing attention to that,
We didn't care.
you focused on Beyonce and how much revenue that she brought into the States.
But they didn't
Fuck
care.
you.
But they
They
did
was
not
definitely
care.
talking about
They
how much
knew.
money
Wait a minute.
she
They knew,
raised.
but they didn't care.
When I called
That was
them
the whole
out
thing.
on it, they
That's
tried
when
to
they
come
cared.
back and say, well, what are you doing in October? We would like to talk to you. You don't want to talk to me because you missed your opportunity. Don't talk to us after the fact.
Right. And that's a lot of that's what happens a lot. And I'm
The
really-
AIDS walks
Yeah.
are not just for you and I. I appreciate what you do
Thank you.
for people like me.
Right.
But when I started traveling to different states, I started seeing the different demographics.
Exactly.
The AIDS walks is not just for people who are living with HIV.
It's
It's
for
for
people
the
that-
mothers who lost their sons. It's for the daughters who lost their fathers. It's for the children who lost their mothers.
Exactly.
Right.
It's for the cousins who support their gay cousins and they know died from AIDS.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? And I don't know
Yes.
why we act like this shit don't go down, but it does.
Yes.
And when I did my World AIDS Day conversation, I asked people in the room, how many of you have participated? If you've never participated in an AIDS walk,
Right.
we need you to participate. It ain't always about donating money. Sometimes showing up matters.
Enough matters, and that's
Showing
enough.
up matters.
Counts.
Because we
Right.
all don't have the
That
cookie
voice.
cutter family demographic.
That's right.
Meeting strangers like we did,
In New Orleans.
We
we
each
are
other's support.
strangers.
A whole
We don't know each
got
other.
wrong. And
Oh, I got
I
chills.
live in Michigan, and I swear to goodness, even though my boys they gonna always be there, none of my family showed up to this event. It was out of town, y'all. My
We got
support
all
system,
the
and I'm
We got all
from
the
They
here.
told us like when the
And I am from here, but people always claiming I support you. I want to be
No, they
there.
don't.
I want to do this, but you're not showing me that you support me because we just had a whole event. I advertised it months, days, and you didn't even show up, but you support me. Stop tokenizing me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Stop tokenizing me if you're really not going to be there for the cause.
Because it's not easy. I don't know if I ever will love again.
And it was a great call.
I don't know if I ever
That was
will.
a-
It was a wonderful
Able
That was
to
a
event.
have
great room, and we
an
had a great
intimate
time.
And the community
relationship.
did that.
Great time.
You know what I'm saying? As a person who's HIV positive, I will never know if I will be able to release myself to another person like that again. I have not dated or had any sexual contact with anyone since 2013.
Right.
Okay?
Because yes.
A bitch is frustrating.
I am hollering. But that is common, and it all goes to,
And a lot of people are.
yeah, and a lot of people are, and it
They're
all goes
traumatized.
back to that mental health.
Absolutely.
Because we already
Understand.
agreed that the first thing is not your mental health.
No, it's not.
And
You
then
know?
it's a
And let's just-
vulnerability
And
already
let's
because
just be
we're living
honest,
with it.
like, we're not even taught about
And can we just
mental
plug
health.
in helpfullivingmagazine.net, helpfullivingmagazine.net,
Helpful living man.
helpfullivingmagazine.net. That is a mental health magazine. I actually wrote an article for that specific magazine. But guys, if you go on Facebook or Instagram and type in Helpful Living Magazine, whether you are a practitioner or an individual who is just looking for resources, this is a great opportunity and networking component for you to not only promote yourself,
Right.
but a product or something that you're passionate about, okay?
Right.
So once again, Helpful Living
That's
Magazine,
the word for it.
okay? And we want to thank Bird Talk Podcast, Bird.tv for giving us an opportunity to plug that information for you guys. What was it? Helpfulliving.net.
Yeah.
.net.
And I know we're getting close on time.
We are getting close.
So I wanted to end it on this note,
Uh-huh.
you know what I'm saying? Because our job is to try to end stigma, right? We want to end the stigma that's behind HIV.
Right.
So, you know, I had went to this conference and I heard a Dr. Tatiana Moulton say this, and it just stuck with me, and I've been advertising it and I've been utilizing it because it speaks to everyone and it's for everyone, right? I need everyone to understand and know that if you're not HIV positive, we're all HIV possible.
Everybody is HIV
And Bird,
possible.
you can end it from there. Close us out.
No,
So-
he really let us have.
Well, I really, but what,
questions,
I
Bird?
wanted to say just one
Any
more thing, if I
questions,
may.
Bird?
Yeah,
When it comes to the HIV thing, you know, a lot of people throw the word Ryan White out there, and I don't take anything away from Ryan White as a
But he was
spokesperson,
not.
but he was not. Okay, there is a woman by the name of Jill Stewart, and Jill Stewart is the reason we know who Ryan White is. Jill Stewart is the reason why Ryan White got an opportunity to talk to the congressional members about HIV/AIDS. HIV/AIDS originally, when he became the token, that's because he was a young white boy trying to go to school,
And they wouldn't let
and they wouldn't let him. Okay,
Yes.
that's the reality. And Jill Stewart was a friend, a student, who helped him to advocate.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of Jill Stewarts.
Yes.
Right, because every day.
That's Jill Stewart. This is Jill Stewart. You now are Jill Stewart. Jill Stewart is an individual who is trying to uplift the positive community.
That's right.
I also want to make sure that when we leave here that people understand that HIV, when it really started doing what it was doing, we realized in 1984 that it went from what? Heterosexual female to heterosexual male to heterosexual female to female, which means they started seeing cases in 1983, 84. Actually, it was earlier than that, but they didn't start reporting it
Until the 80s.
until the 80s because a woman couldn't even get a bank account in the 70s. So why are we going to report HIV information when they couldn't even get a bank card? Let's talk about that.
And
You get what I'm
another
saying?
thing a lot of people don't know, and I would like
We
to
said
give
a lot.
honor-
Yeah, and
I want to give honor to
them.
them, right? Because they was not keeping history of individuals that was dying from this virus back then. So I would like to give
Oh,
them
Henrietta
their
Flats.
flowers and say thank you because they paved the way and
Mother of DNA.
gave us this opportunity that we are today.
Absolutely.
If we all know sex on the planet out.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, if that's how we gonna roll.
That's just how we roll.
That was a song that I had too. But no, honestly, I just want to thank Bird for the opportunity to actually look outside the box. Everybody's always in the box, you know, but it's time for us to think outside the box. How can we truly help end the epidemic? Because it is possible, you know. I am a true advocate. I love my clients. I love Dawn. I love Orlando. And even though I'm not living positively, okay, I am out there fighting to make sure that everything that is available, possible, the understanding, the education, I am making sure that I'm doing my best and spraying it to everybody. I'm going to put a plug in real fast. So if you know anybody that needs any testing done, anybody in Pittsburgh, please reach out to me. My social media is Love Cryssi on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Send me a personal message. I will respond back to you privately, and then we can go from there to make sure that you get tested correctly, and if you are positive, you are on the correct medication regimen.
You better say it, bitch.
Hi, everyone. I want to say thank you, Bird, for not being afraid to open the floor to this type of conversation. Because I mean, a lot are. They're scared. Just want to say, everyone, if you're ever in Nashville or know someone close to Nashville, there is a place where we do offer those type of services if you're not receiving them, and that is called Street Works. We're off of Rosa Parks in Nashville.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
And once again, I just want to make sure that I am always being true to the original cause. I know that I am an HIV advocate because I am a person who's living with But one thing that I want to make sure that people are grasping is to take advantage of the resources available to you for mental health.
Yeah.
And once again, I want to shout out Helpful Living Magazine, and it's helpfulliving.net. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, it's Helpful Living Mag, MAG. It's important. Because I would love to be able to have conversations with other individuals like myself who are positive. It would warm my heart and I wouldn't feel so lonely. I also would like an opportunity to talk to people who are not positive, because I want to make sure that we are pushing an initiative. And that initiative is to make sure that you don't feel lost and confused or alone in the event that you are diagnosed.
Right.
And we have to start having positive conversations to uplift. I'm not trying to judge nobody. The world is judging me. There's a difference.
Right.
I know a lot is going on with this new administration, but at the end of the day, you matter.
Right.
And if you know your status, that's all that matters. Because you equals what?
Yeah.
Undetectable. Orlando Jacob 676.
Detroit, y'all already know who I am. Y'all know how to get hold to me. LaDawn Tate. That's my social media. You can Google me if you want to know what I do, what I'm about. I'm national. Google me. Again, thank you, Bird. I appreciate you for allowing us to have this opportunity. You're great. I really hope that you enjoy your award and it gives you a moment and it reminds you of this day. Of
You gotta
us
claim
four.
it though. It's really famous.
So, definitely. We blessed it.
Yes, we did.
We blessed
did.
it. Yes, we blessed
We
it.
anointed your
And thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Thank these people for coming on my show. We gonna do this again. It's not stopping. I want to put this down in your town, and we're gonna switch it around, and we're gonna travel. We're gonna do our thing with this, and people need to know about this.
Everything.
This everything, man. My heart is just, whew, it's just, because I can be in this situation, but we going to do everything in our power to get this moving. All right. We ready? Let me just thank everybody.
Shout out to Rock.
Thank my partner Rock for
Period.
the camera guy. My partner Keith didn't show up. My partner Casino. Send a shout out to Boom.
Shout out Boom.
Everybody.
Baby.
Secretary that's watching me, just everybody that got something to do with Bird TV. And we going to travel and put this thing together in other states. And just love on it. And just hope that people can say, this where it started at with Bird TV with these great people. Love y'all. Good night. Be careful. Do what y'all got to do. We finna party. Turn it. Where my blunt at, y'all? Good night.